I'm going to make a connection to tattooing here.
Please. Something I know slightly a bit more about. You're looking at 2 years experience in burlesque and like 6 years experience in tattooing. So I'm a complete baby in all aspects of life, but maybe that makes me approachable. I don't know.
I think it's super cool to be able to talk about, like, you and I were talking about gatekeeping earlier. I think it's super cool to talk about what you're excited about and also acknowledge your newness to it as well, right?
Yeah, we all suck. Go out there and suck.
You know? Do your thing.
Yeah.
Like, let me make the connection. We'll go back to this. You talked about that, like if we were on this desert island and we were writing these songs, just the two of us, and it's like, we're just going to play these songs to each other and over again. It's like, without an audience, it could be not a hollow pursuit, but it might be losing some of that juice that's important for it. But tattooing, when you tattoo someone, when they walk out, you're not there to see how the world interacts with that. So where's the juice for you in that one?
Gosh, I think it's like body reclamation, just my own understanding of like when I get a tattoo, it just makes me feel 100% more at home in my body. I think about like if we're in this room and it was just white walls and white furniture and it's kind of like your first apartment, you're like, oh, it's not really home. But then like you start putting up your show posters and your little trinkets and tchotchkes and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, this is my home. And I think that our bodies can do that for us as well. So yeah, I guess I just hope and pray that when those people leave, they're also like feeling at home in their body and I can just be a bit of a facilitator in that bodily reclamation service, body reconciliation services. Yeah, that kind of thing.
When Monica sent me the brief about our discussion for today, I saw that body reconciliation or body reclamation. I've never heard these terms before.
I think I made them up.
So tell us. Well, because the way you just described it about like when you move into an apartment, and I that's a great way to kind of unpack it. But I'd love to hear more about it because I think it's like a pretty compelling idea.
Yeah, I think there's things that we do to ourselves that just make us feel more at home, and it's totally socially influenced, right? Like when I think about like my experience as a transgender person, I've had people ask like, do you still think you'd be transgender if you were alone on this deserted island and there was no one there to inform you about what is masculine, what are societal roles, what are traditional gender roles? And it's like, no, probably not. You know, it's this idea of like how you relate to society and like what kind of rules are imparted on us. So yeah, like having these ideas about tattoo, a little bit taboo, a little bit rebellious, a little bit like you're taking a permanent snapshot of whatever you're enjoying in your life at that time. It is like a bit of a high risk kind of activity to commit to like whatever absurd or significant expression you want to put out there. So yeah, I think it's this, I don't know, it's just a way for us to put our insides on our outsides, I guess. Yeah.
Because when I was reading the brief, I started just thinking about any things that people do to their bodies. Well, however we want to perceive this as healthy or unhealthy, but I was thinking about, let's say people who are really invested in gym culture.
Yeah.
And I'm not giving like kind of a toxic or negative take. I'm just saying people who are really into being in shape and are actually trying to sculpt their body. I would never have thought of that about being like body reconciliation or kind of like body ownership, making something your own. But that seems to be in line with that idea that you're putting forward.
Totally. Yeah. And I struggle with that a lot too. Like I really would like to look like Tom Hardy or whoever, right? And you see these like celebrities and whatever. And then I'm like, wow, what part of that is like toxic masculinity or like beauty standards? But then it's still, you know, I can do this interior work, but then I'm still like, yeah, but I still want to look like that, you know?
The reason I'm asking about this is like, if someone got a tattoo,
yeah,
and I'm not even saying if it was meaningful for them or even if it's a good tattoo. If someone got a tattoo, most people at this day and age wouldn't even blink about it. Like maybe they got on their face, they would, but like let's say they just got something on their forearm, nobody would even blink. But then like we talk about people getting like kind of jacked or sculpted, the conversation can kind of go, well, it's like, oh, if you do that, it's setting you're chasing an impossible standard and also presenting an impossible standard. know if I agree with that. Like, I'm not saying that that doesn't exist, but I think a lot of people just want to feel proud of their bodies, whatever that means for them.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I like a lot, and I was saying this to Carrie earlier today, I was like, I love the internet in so many ways because it exposes you to so many ideas. And I hate the internet for the exact same reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I think I was really compelled when I read this in the brief because it's like that idea of reconciling with our body or kind of claiming your body. I went down this whole rabbit hole of thought where I was like, yeah, I guess when you're born, you're not even thinking about your body. It's just like this thing that you're moving around
Yeah.
in.
Meat sack.
Right.
Yeah.
What did Carrie call it? She was like a biomechanical meat machine or something.
Yes. What a beautiful brain my
Totally.
boss has. Yes.
But the way I started thinking about it more was like, at some point I became aware of my body and the things I like about it and the things I don't. And I think a lot of my life has been like reconciling how I feel about those things. And, you know, I come from a place of privilege where I'm, you know, a white male. I have had very little challenges with general reconciliation about it. But like the way I look, you know, like having like a big nose, being bald, like these things. And if I struggle with those things, I can only imagine the different challenges people have. So this isn't a like, let's pin on the right way of looking at it. It's just more like when I thought of that, I was like, I guess a lot of people are just trying to make a connection with their body to make it feel like theirs, even though it is theirs because they're in it.
Yeah. And there's all these like weird rules that like we can socially construct, right? Like your words, not mine. You described yourself as having a big nose. I think your nose is very handsome.
I got a big nose.
I think your nose is very handsome.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, like we could manipulate society so that like your nose becomes the ideal standard of beauty, you know? And it's like, yeah, that just kind of blows your mind when you're like, money's not real, time's not real. Noses, at least like hierarchy of noses, not real. Yeah.
It kind of it brings me to a thing that I've thought about, like basically like everything is nothing. Like there's everything is everything. Like if one thing matters, everything matters. But kind of in a lot of ways, a lot of things don't matter. Almost nothing matters, and it's just kind of where society decides to draw standards of beauties or morals or what's right or wrong or how one thing or versus another thing is defined. So it's like, again, why I love the internet, it's like you get exposed to so much stuff. But then what I don't like about the internet is so many people are like, and this is the truth. It's like, I don't know if we could be saying what the truth is.
Nothing's real. Like gym bros, as you were kind of mentioning before, like they're chasing like this beauty standard that they've created in their minds. And it's this reclamation of their body. And it's maybe not always what people would say is like healthy. It is like a bit of like, are gym bros participating in third wave feminism, where like we have, you know, Dolly Parton comes out with augmented breasts and everyone's like, shame, shame, shame. But then people are like, wait, this is feminism, right? Third wave feminism is happening. So it's like, gym bros, are they part of this third wave feminist movement that they're not aware of, where they're reaching for these beauty standards that we might not think of as healthy or safe? It's very interesting.